So now I will tell you why you shouldn't go into law school, or into law generally, unless you absolutely somehow fanatically like that area or something like that. When I went into law, it was the biggest mistake of my career in my life. I spent in law, I'd say minimum 15 years, quite a bit. On and off 20 years, but if you take non-stop, for example, it probably would be anywhere from 13 to 15 years. And I didn't work for large law firms, although I had projects at large law firms. I spent a lot of time working for smaller law firms, smaller attorneys, including very innovative law firms, which were like on the edge of technology and so on and so forth. But here's what I absolutely hate about the law. When I went into law initially, I was seeking, justice, fairness. I have a sharp sense of that stuff. I want the world to be fair. I want people to be treated fairly. I want justice to prevail. I want criminals and bad people to be punished and punished severely. That was my idealistic approach. So I was idealist. I was thinking, in idealistic terms. My view was crashed. Okay, my point of view was crashed once I started studying law, and once I got deeper into actually working in law. Especially, it started in former Soviet Union. I did some initial year or two there. Then I did it in United States. Now, I'm not even going to talk about this former post-Soviet environment. That was completely, there were lawyers who completely out of touch with reality. Law was literally thrown in a trash can on a daily basis. But what really upset me is similar things were happening for example, in the United States. When judges don't follow the law, okay? When judges ignore the law, when, say, police ignores the law, when legal norms do not work. So when I went into law, I thought that law is like law of physics, for example. I'm not going to talk about quantum mechanics and those complicated stuff, but for example, basic law of Newton's law. When apple falls from the tree, it falls toward the center of gravity. That's the law. That's universal law. All right? And pretty much it's it's like gospel, right? In religion. This is what it is. Law of chemistry, those compounds binding, those are not binding. Law of biology. So that's because I wanted to become a biologist initially, and that's what I wanted law is. Well, that's law of biology, law of physics, law of chemistry. It's set in stone. That's it. No, boy, I was wrong. That's not how law works. Law is really, even in law school, they taught us, look from two sides, from plaintiff sides, from defendant sides. So law is casuistic, meaning 90% of the law turned out to be of the work. You have to not necessarily, first of all, it's extremely boring, okay? It's man-made, it's not natural in many cases. It's archaic in many cases. It doesn't seek justice, it doesn't seek fairness, it doesn't give justice, fairness to people. 90% of people do not get, legal services, proper legal services, do not have access to services. Law is a cartel. Law profession is a cartel. You need years of study, a bunch of exams, certifications, whatever, bar exam, and so on and so forth. And even that doesn't ensure that the lawyer A is competent and B is ethical. Right? Even that doesn't ensure that most of the lawyers actually are good people and very strong, smart professionals. But there is so much bad stuff going on in law and so much bad stuff they have to deal with, okay? So profession is simply not worth it financially, frankly. And like I said, lots of profession is involving, you have to learn how to avoid the law, how to interpret the law. So it's it's some completely different skill, right? That's why people don't like lawyers. You have to avoid things. You have to turn things around, turn things upside down. It also depends how much money client has. If client has lots of money, or lawyer is gonna do so much work for the client and turn things white is black, black is white, and so on and so forth. Then you have some district attorneys. Most of them are good, but some are. Then there is policy. Okay, law is not about fairness and stuff. Law is about policy and politics. As soon as a general political course of the government or country changes, they just ignore the previous laws and start new, and so on and so forth, because law is a made up concept. It's virtual, okay? These laws that we made up, they don't exist in nature. We try to base them on natural laws, but we still sometimes don't. We are humans, we make mistakes. It's very difficult, frankly, to deal with that. There are people who absolutely love that, okay? They love that environment. They love to all this interpreting, all this fuzzy, schmuzzy, this fuzzy kind of puzzle game, and they like that stuff. But I don't, all right? I don't. I like things when they're structured. I like things when they are, like in law, I like laws which work, and which work as a fairness, universal fairness, universal justice. Law doesn't do that. It simply doesn't do that. Law is turned as an instrument to serve certain groups of people, and the rest is we are kind of barely keeping things in order, just to make sure that people don't start, destroying each other completely or attacking each other. And they still attack each other, and they still do it many times, and they still get released in criminal law, for example, because they have money. So basically, I got disappointed with the law because it's not what I thought. Right? It doesn't work the way I thought. And I guess to wrap up this little rant about the law, I know many lawyers. Other thing, it's very competitive. Too many lawyers, frankly, and not enough clients. People do not have money to pay, so lawyers sometimes they don't make much money. They quit profession, they go somewhere else. Generally, plus dealing with ethical issues, you make one little mistake, then disciplinary committee is on your tail and stuff like that. You can lose your license. At the same time, some good smart people, they cannot pass bar exam, but they have a sense of justice and fairness, but they cannot get into profession because they don't pass bar exam. Then some other people somehow, I've seen in some places, really not smart people passing bar exam, which makes me wonder that maybe in some places bar exam is rigged, because in some places law schools are rigged. These law schools grades, I caught one law school, I will not tell you which one, with somebody which was rigging students' grades because they wanted to keep scholarships coming into law or into school and so on and so forth. They were caught red-handed, but who's going to go against law school, right? Who's going to prosecute law school? Who? Graduates of that law school? Not going to happen. But it was 100%. People were openly talking about it. Nothing done, okay? And it's not my job to do that. It's not my job to catch them. So they were cheating their own law students. So much law in our modern society is about cheating, and probably has been forever like that, because people are humans. They start using a law against other people, but like as an instrument. So anyway, there is no fairness, there is no justice in law, in fact. And many of you will be disappointed because law is about making money, essentially. Frankly, law is about making money, not about helping people. And many kids who go into law, they get disappointed, they get very skeptical, negative, and so on and so forth. I do not recommend you to go into law. I encourage you to pursue other professions. You want to go into law, you may change it later. In law, you can go to law school in 35, 40 years if you want to. But first you establish some kind of career, stable career somewhere else in some other areas which will feed you. All right? And then you can explore law. That's what I think. I don't think it's a good idea to go into law right away from after college. But again, it's my personal opinion. You may think differently. And learn about the law if you consider that career. Learn about negative stuff of the law. Okay, people who are complaining, because people are not just complaining. Those are smart people who were in the law. Okay, many smart people get disappointed, and they tell you the truth. So read about negative stuff. If you can handle that, reading the negative stuff. If you can handle that negative stuff, you can try. Some lawyers I know are extremely successful. They're happy, again, until first disciplinary violation. All right, then it becomes hell because your license is on the line. But you decide for yourself. I know I made mistake. I'm fixing it right now. I'm venturing into other, so to say, avenues professionally. But you decide for yourself, and if you do, good luck to you. Just don't forget, there is universal fairness. There is universal justice in this world. You do something to other people, it may will come back to you. It may haunt you, no matter how powerful and connected you are. Good luck.